Hi everyone, this is Dr. Lin Feng from EduLink, and this is part of the Research Paper 1 course. So far in this course, you have learned about the different parts of a research paper and the process of conducting a primary research study. Right now, you're working on a project in which you are going to collect data to answer at least 2 research questions. The first one is there a relationship between foreign language enjoyment and different variables? The second one is there a relationship between foreign language classroom anxiety and other variables? You may also explore the relationship between foreign language enjoyment and foreign language classroom anxiety together. I have asked you to use a questionnaire to collect data to answer these questions. However, if you don't have enough data, I'm going to provide you a data set that you can use to analyze the data and answer the questions. So this is the data set, and when you look at this, you can see that there are 86 responses, and you can also see the timestamp, so you can describe when the data was collected. You also see different demographic information about the participants. So in the method section, you can also briefly describe this information. You can talk about how many female participants there were, how many male participants there were, the age range of the participants, although there are not enough data points here, but you can mention how many participants reported their age. You also can talk about the education levels, whether they have graduated from high school, in college, or whether they have graduated from college. You can also report on their nationality, their most proficient languages, and the languages that they are studying. This column is about the number of years that they have spent learning their target language. And this one is about their proficiency level from 1 to 5. 1 means basic and 5 means advanced. So remember that in the method section, you should describe the participants of the study by going over these demographic informational points here. Now, in this data set, I actually have already cleaned up the data for you. I already reversed some of the scores for the negative items for you. But when you look at this, just pay attention here. When you click on this, you will see the item. I have already grouped the items into 2 sections here. These questions measure foreign language classroom anxiety, and these questions measure foreign language classroom enjoyment. So the first thing that you should do is to calculate the average, and you should calculate the average for each participant. And the way you do it in Excel is to use the equal sign and then type average and then open bracket and then choose the cell, then close the bracket and click enter. And now you have this number, and if you want to do the same for the rest of the sample, you can just click the plus sign here, and you can see that the data is generated for the rest. And this is the average foreign language classroom anxiety score for each participant. Now here, the same, you can do the average for the foreign language enjoyment score, and just click enter here, and also do the same, click here. Now I want you to show 2 decimals with these numbers, and this already shows correctly. Okay, and from then on, you can analyze this even further. You can calculate the average for the whole population, right, using the same formula. So the average of the whole population here, you're going to have to choose the whole range here, and then click enter, and then it will show the score. This is, you're going to do the same for this column to calculate the average for the enjoyment score for the whole population. Okay, but to answer your research questions, you need to compare the different groups of people. So you can put female participants together and male participants together, and then you can compare to see which group has a higher score in anxiety and enjoyment. You can also, maybe this doesn't have enough data for you to analyze, but you can also put people in different nationality groups and to see if Mexican people have a higher or lower enjoyment score, Afghan people have a higher or lower enjoyment score, and so on. You may also look at the duration of time that they have been studying the target language to see if the longer they study, the more enjoyment they have, or vice versa. This may also be interesting. You may put people maybe mostly into two groups, maybe those from the basic to intermediate to 1 to 3, and those at the high intermediate and advanced 4 and 5, and then you can compare the groups to see if one group has a higher or lower score than others. So those are some ways for you to analyze the data and explore the data. So I want to show you a tip to sort data in order to group people into different groups. For example, you may want to sort participants according to their gender. So you can click on this and then click A to Z and then click sort. And now you can see all the female participants are shown together here, and you can calculate their average enjoyment and anxiety score. And then you can also calculate the average scores for male participants. And then you can compare to see which group has a higher score. So that is a trick for you to group people into different conditions or different groups. You can also sort them according to their nationality. So you can see that there are a lot of Afghan participants here, and maybe you can compare the scores of Afghan participants and Japanese participants and Mexican participants. That may be something meaningful to do in terms of, again, grouping them according to their proficiency level. You can do the same thing and then make sure to calculate the average scores in order to compare the different groups. So that is something that you can do. Another thing that you can do, and let me see, I'm gonna sort this again, is you can also analyze the qualitative data here. The participants also provided answers to the question to describe specific events or episodes in their class that they really enjoyed. So by looking at these answers, you may discover something interesting about the sources of enjoyment in their foreign language learning. Okay, so I hope that the information is useful. I'm going to share with you this data set, and you should explore it and analyze it using some of the techniques that I have just shown you.